Today we are talking about one of the ways to classify triangles, and this is by the triangle's angles. If you take a look at the word triangle, you will see that at the beginning it has tri. Think of a tricycle. A tricycle has three wheels. Triangles have three angles. If all of the angles are acute in the triangle, then it's called an acute triangle. In your notes, if you would write the definition of an acute triangle, and if you would draw an example of a triangle where all the angles are small, that means that all the angles are less than 90 degrees. If you have a triangle where one of the angles are right and the other two angles are acute, then you have what is called a right triangle. Anytime you see a triangle that has this little square in the corner, that tells you that it's a right triangle. If it has a corner that looks like an L, like the corner of a door, it's a right angle, and that means that the other two angles are going to be acute. And the last type is our obtuse triangle. So an obtuse triangle has one obtuse angle, so one angle that is really large, and then it has two acute angles. Anytime you see an obtuse angle, it's automatically obtuse. If you see a triangle that looks like it's really wide, then that is going to be an obtuse triangle. If it has one obtuse angle, then it is an obtuse triangle. If you are watching the video and you did not take notes yet, if you would make sure that you pause here so you can get the definitions in your notes. So we're going to take a look at a couple of examples. Each of these is an example of one of the different types of triangles that I talked about earlier. So let's take a look at the first one. If you take a look at the first one, it has an L at the corner. It has a right angle. If a triangle has a right angle, then that means it is a right triangle. If we take a look at the triangle at the bottom, this triangle is really wide. At the top of the triangle, it has a large obtuse angle. Remember when we learned about angles, we said that if you open your mouth nice and wide, when you say obtuse, it can remind you that an obtuse angle is a large angle. So obtuse angle means that this is an obtuse triangle. If we take a look at our next triangle, we see that it has all these cute little tiny angles. All three of its angles are less than 90 degrees. So that means that this would be an example of an acute, oops, forgot my U, an acute triangle. Just so we see another set of examples to make sure we understand. So let's take a look at this one. If we take a look at this one, we'll notice that this angle is open wider than 90 degrees. It's not as wide as the obtuse angle on the last one, but it's open wider than an L. It looks like an L that someone's pushed open a little bit on this side. So this would be an obtuse angle. It's open nice and wide. If you take a look at, let's take a look at this one. We look at the corner, we see that the corner is a perfect L. We can put the square in the corner to remind us that this would be a right triangle. And if we look at the last one, all three of these angles are cute and small, so that means that that would be an acute triangle. Now we're going to take a look at some numbers. So sometimes you won't see a picture of a triangle, you'll see the measure of each of the angles. So you'll have to use your notes to remember, okay, what's an acute angles degrees, what's a right angles degree, and what is an obtuse angles degree. So if we take a look at the first example, my three angles, the first angle is 45 degrees, The second angle is 45 degrees, and one of the angles is 90 degrees. I know that a right triangle is 90 degrees, has a 90-degree angle, because a right angle is 90 degrees. So this would be an example of a right triangle. Anytime you see 90 degrees, it's a right triangle. Now take a look at the next one. This is a perfect triangle where all the angles are equal. If my angles are less than 90 degrees, that means that they're acute. If all three angles are acute, that means that it is an acute triangle. If I take a look at the next one, I have one angle that is 120 degrees and two really small acute angles. Because one of my angles is obtuse, that means that it is an obtuse triangle. And if we take a look at the last one, I have one angle that is 90 degrees, one angle that is 30 degrees, and one angle that is 60 degrees. Because I have a 90-degree angle, this means that this would also be a right triangle. So this is how you classify triangles by their angles, the measurements of each angle.